Let's look at the idea of complex numbers. For complex numbers, I need to define this number I, which is the square root of -1. Or, another way to say that, I squared is equal to -1. So complex numbers are anything of the form a plus bi, where a and b are real numbers. Things like 3 minus 7i or -4 plus 2i would be examples of complex numbers. When we have negatives under a square root, we can use this idea of complex numbers to simplify them. We can think of -16 as -1 times 16. I know the square root of 16 is 4, and the square root of -1 is I. So the square root of -16 would be 4i. If I consider the square root of -25, this would be -1 times 25. The square root of 25 is 5, and the square root of -1 is I. If I want to do something like the square root of -7, this is -1 times 7. I know the square root of -1 is I, but the square root of 7 is an irrational number, so we can also write this as I square root of 7. So we can essentially pull out the negative sign from underneath the square root and turn it into an I. We can do operations with these complex numbers as well. We just treat them just like polynomials. So in this case, since I'm adding, I could rewrite this as -6 minus 9i plus 2 minus 8i. -6 plus 2 is -4. And then the i's, I have -9i minus 8i. -9 minus 8 is -17i. So this would be -4 minus 17i. Next, let's look at -8 plus 4i minus 2 minus 8i. When I'm dealing with subtraction, I need to distribute the negative sign. So this is -2, and then minus -8i, or plus 8i. I have -8 minus 2, which is -10. And then 4i plus 8i would give me 12i. So this simplifies to 10 plus 2i. Next, let's look at multiplying. We can multiply these as well. In this case, I would need to use the distributive property. -5i times 4 would be -20i. And -5i times I would be -5i squared. And for this, we have to remember the alternative definition for I, which was I squared is equal to -1. So we get -20i minus 5 times -1, or -20i plus 5. Let's look at multiplying 7 minus 3i times 5 minus 3i. 7 times 5, that's 35. 7 times minus 3i is -21i. Minus 3i times 5 is -15i. And minus 3i times minus 3i is plus 9i squared. So I have a 35. I can combine like terms. -21 minus 15 is -36. So that's a minus 36i. And then I can remember that I squared is equal to -1. So this is plus 9 times -1. Or 35 minus 6i minus 9. I can combine like terms. 35 minus 9 is 26, so I have 26 minus 36i.